All right, you guys, you asked for it and you got it. We are going to go head to head on two of our favorite signing platforms, DocuSign and Dotloop. So today I'm going to show you the workflow between both of them in Command and also some pros and some cons of both of them so that you can make the decision, should I jump into DocuSign or should I jump into Dotloop? I'm Bren Brewer, your favorite tech training coach, and let's get into DocuSign versus Dotloop. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and let me pull in Command for you guys so you can see the process here. And I'm gonna create an opportunity, and you can see here I have John Doe. He is my test subject, and you do have to put in everything with the red asterisk, okay? You can see here I've created two Command opportunities. One we're gonna use for DocuSign and one we're going to use for Dotloop. So you can see here is my test 1 DocuSign opportunity and here is my test 2 DocuSign opportunity. All right, so the way that you start a transaction is the same. And before you get started, you're going to want to click on your name in the upper right corner, click on settings, and make sure that Dotloop or DocuSign is connected in your settings. I'm not going to show you how to do that. I do that in previous videos. So what we're worried about today is the actual process and how to actually get things done. What's similar, what's the same. So now we're in both of these opportunities, and what we want to do is we want to start a transaction. This side over here, I'm going to start a transaction. I'm going to start it in DocuSign. This side over here, I'm going to start that transaction in Dotloop. So you can see here, it's already a little bit different. I've got to log into DocuSign. And then on this side, on Dotloop, I have to know which profile that I need to use. And that can be tricky if you have a bazillion different profiles. So you're going to need to know which profile to use for Dotloop. I've been in real estate through several different profiles and brokerages and things like that. So that's why I have so many profiles in Dotloop, because other brokerages used to use Dotloop back in the day. All right, once I pick my profile, then I have to pick a template for Dotloop. And this was a listing. So let me go ahead and pick that. And I'm going to choose my Dotloop template. It doesn't take you automatically into Dotloop. You can see this opportunity on the left-hand side, it popped open the DocuSign room straight up for me. And so I like that. It's just straight up into DocuSign. Now I have to come over here and actually, oops, I already have it open. So let me go ahead and log in, and it's going to ask me for a code. So now you can see here is my test 2, which is the same as my test 1. So I'm going to go ahead and click that and open it up. So you do have to log in separately to your Dotloop. Command's not just going to pop open a window and put you in that loop. The room on this side is the same as a loop on the Dotloop side. So DocuSign room is the same as a Dotloop loop. You can see in Dotloop, I already have a listed folder, I have an under contract folder, and I have a closed folder. In DocuSign, those are not default. You'll have to click on actions, add folder, and then I like to number them so they come up first, and then create. And so that made my listed folder. So you can see here, I have my listed, under contract, and closed. Those have to be created in every single DocuSign room. Now, if your market center has created these templates for you, then those will be already in all of your Dotloop loops. So pro for Dotloop for having that already there for you and established, so you don't have to go creating all of those folders. Okay, so second part of getting into DocuSign, so you want to add details to your DocuSign room. That's going to be here. You'll want to come in and click edit and add in all these details. So those will go into your forms. It'll autofill into all the forms that are in your room. Once you've done that, you'll click save. Here, when you open a document, let's just say I'm going to open my listing cover sheet, and it usually asks me if I want to autofill. Let me see. why it's not doing that. Here we go. It's asking me if I want to autofill the names and the roles. John Doe is seller 1. Listing agent will be Bren Brewer, listing broker. And then I can give it all that information and click autofill. And it says, are you sure? And I'm going to say continue. And so now this document should be filled out for me. This is going to be, and then if a field is not available for you to fill out, it's because you're not assigned to that field as a role. So then I would just go ahead and fill out this information, and you can see that my seller has to sign it here. When I'm done, I would just click save. Now for the same document in DocuSign, I'm going to click on documents, and they're not in my folders, and that's okay because I only want the signed documents to go in my folders. And then guess what? IABS is not even there. So I'm going to click on add DocuSign forms, and then I have to go to my library and I have to add the information about brokerage services listing. So now I have that document. I can come in here, and it is a fillable form in DocuSign, so I can fill out any field. Okay, so I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to start filling this out, and I can fill in anything. You can see there. Once I'm done filling this form out, I'll go ahead and click save and close. So you can see I have the two of the same forms in DocuSign. Now I would keep going filling out these forms, right? So you see we have our information about broker services, we have our general information and notice, we have our general information, wire fraud warning. So we can see we're going to fill out all of these documents, and they're the same as in the listed folder. Once we get those filled out, then we have to get them signed. And that is where the biggest difference with DocuSign and Dotloop comes. So to get these signed in DocuSign, you'll have to select them all. Once you select them, this row of icons pops up. You'll click create envelope. You'll assign whoever is signing. So in this particular instance, it's listing documents to get the house listed. So it's going to be listing agent and seller 1. We'll click continue. On the Dotloop side, while we're waiting on DocuSign to figure this out, we are going to get these signed. And so we need the brokerage services, this one, and let's just say this one. And then we would click share. We're going to share it with him. He needs an email and he can sign. All right, can sign only. And then we will click share. Okay. I'm sent for signatures. So we're pretending like I filled in both sides of the forms and I'm sending for signatures. Click done, and those are sent. DocuSign, not quite so easy. I can see why people are doing Dotloop. It is very user-friendly. So I have to have my recipients here, and then I can put a message if I want, and then I'm going to click next. In the meanwhile, my Dotloop's already been sent. It is faster. All right, now I'm going to go through all my documents and make sure I filled it in correctly and that the signatures and initials are in the right place. So yes, I'm doing that. We're making sure that they're all correct. Everything looks good. I've filled it out properly. Signatures, everything is there. Now I'm going to click send. So now my DocuSign has been sent for signatures, and you saw how easy it was for my Dotloop to be sent for signatures. So now we are waiting on others, or on Dotloop, and DocuSign actually needs my signature. So I'm going to go into DocuSign. I'm going to go ahead and sign this real fast, just so you can see the process for DocuSign and how quick and easy it actually is. And then I don't have to sign that one. Finish. Yes, DocuSign, you do have to click finish or it will not come through. I'm waiting on others. Now my client, once they sign, let me click on documents and then go back to envelopes. You can see once everybody signs, it shows completed, and then let me go back into documents. So you can see now I have my signed documents and a certification showing a proof of who signed. Now with these documents here, when I'm in Dotloop, if I need to sign something, I just go into the document and sign it. So let me pop all the way down to the bottom. You can see here, it says sign, and that's how I do that. So I'm waiting on John to sign, John Doe, and let's see. So that one is signed. So I saved that one. Let me do wire fraud, auto, and then I need to sign. And remember, we are pretending like we filled these out. Nobody has, even though I have not filled them out. Now you do have to save these before you leave the document. I have signed that one. And so, all right, so these I am just waiting on the other person to sign. You can see all the documents that you have shared here, and it shows how many people have seen them or have them. Waiting on others and waiting on others. So let me go to to, let me show you what's going on. This is why I don't like Dotloop, because it's asking me to sign it. Just make it a little smaller so I can see everything. I don't see where I need to sign it. It's not here. There's no signature field for me. Same thing on the wire fraud, no signature field, and then nothing here either, except it's, so somewhere along the lines I must have messed this up somehow on Dotloop. Not exactly sure, but this is part of the reason why I don't like Dotloop. It's not intuitive to tell if you did this correctly. And now, because it says share here, I will not get this back unless he shares it back with me. Okay. And I do believe it's because I updated it after I shared it. So let me go here. All right. So let's just do this, this, and this. Let's click share. All right, Dotloop. Having the issues is why I don't use the Dotloop. I do not have these kind of issues with DocuSign. So I'm gonna click share and share, done. All right, so let me go back to my email and see what I got here. It should be fine. I think it is. Okay, so I'm gonna pull it back in and show you, like, I already signed that one. And see, I'm signing as the seller right now. Okay, now the documents are here for me to sign. The fields are here. But they were not, because I was in the middle of changing them, I suppose. So I guess the lesson here is don't change the documents after you've already shared. You have to unshare the documents first and then share them when you're done making a change. So I'm finished. I'm gonna go ahead and click finish signing. That's what it would look like if your clients were signing a document. Let me pull that out the way and let me go back into Dotloop. So now if I refresh this, it's gonna show signed. So the signed feature on DocuSign is here and it's green. These show signed and it's got 2 people. If you click on it, you can see that it is signed right there. And let's go look at the listing agreement. It shows it's signed as well. So you can see I have not signed it. So I need to go sign it now. So it cleared those signatures that I had already done, which is one of my biggest pet peeves on Dotloop. It's going to clear your signatures every time you make a small little change, whereas DocuSign is not going to do that. All right, so even though it was quicker to send the documents in Dotloop, I've now spent more time trying to figure out what my issues were in Dotloop and how to actually sign them. So, and then it cleared my signatures and I had to go back and do it again. So let me go ahead and do this and then do this and then sign. Okay, so now this is signed. Yes, save changes. Okay, signed, signed. Let me make sure it didn't clear this one. Nope, it didn't. And then let me make sure it didn't clear this one. It did not. Okay, so now I'm signed and signed. And so what I want to do now is make sure I move my signed documents in DocuSign over to my listed folder, because these are the listed docs. So when I do that, I'm just going to click this move button. Select the box where there's a folder in the current room and then select my listed folder and then click move. So now my documents are in that folder. I'm ready to go back into my opportunity. And when I do that, I want to click refresh so that command knows what I've done. And then the same thing over here in just a second. So what I'm going to show you here is my listing cover sheet, which we're not going to do that yet. I don't have my MLS printout. I don't have my tax record, but I do have the documents that I did in DocuSign. So remember, you're attaching files from DocuSign, and then your working folder is going to be the listed folder, because we are in our listed folder in command. We want to match that to our listed folder in DocuSign. So we're going to come down here and we're going to find the first document that we actually do have. That's the information about brokerage services signed. I'm going to put that in. Here's our general information. I'm just going to click there and attach it. That's all I'm doing is clicking to attach. And here's the wire fraud note warning, and then our listing agreement here. Now you can see I've attached those documents. I can look at it. I can see that it is the signed one, and I am ready to click submit to MC. Once I click submit to MC and click submit, that's going to go to my compliance department and they're going to check my documents. Same thing over here. I'm going to go into my opportunity. I am going to refresh the opportunity. It says attach files from Dotloop, which I have. And then I'm just going to come down and I'm going to find the documents that I have. So I have my information about brokerage services. Let me go back to listing cover sheet, which I do have, and my general information and my wire fraud, and then my exclusive right to sell. I have everything that is required right now, except for a couple things I need to go get out of MLS. But once I have all those required documents, I'm ready to click submit to MC and click submit. So you can see that was the entire command e-signing software back to command command workflow between DocuSign and Dotloop. There were a few little hiccups. All in all, I think DocuSign is a little easier and to keep organized and a little more seamless. Dotloop can be quick and fast, but if you have to make a change, it's going to clear all your signatures and you're not going to know what was actually going on through that process. So my pros and cons of Dotloop. Let's see. I think Dotloop is well loved by a lot of agents. I think it can be simpler. It can be straightforward for small and simple deals. The cons. The signatures get wiped every time you make a change. It doesn't auto-populate from the opportunity fields any of the information from the opportunity like DocuSign will. And it doesn't handle templates very easily. So just like DocuSign, you can go create templates. I've showed you guys that in a different DocuSign video. Dotloop doesn't really have that option. You have a loop template. So that's my Dotloop pros and cons. My DocuSign pros and cons are it auto-populates a lot of the information straight from the opportunity, which I love, and then that goes into the documents. There's easy to do templates inside of the documents section of DocuSign, not inside the room, but in the documents section, so that's cool. And then the integration back and forth is actually a pro for both of them. That's super easy. And then DocuSign, I feel like, has a slightly steeper learning curve, but once you get it, it's easier. And you have to set up those templates up front and as a con, and then also creating those folders inside of each room is also a con for me. So there you have it. Right? If you're running deals and you can't decide between DocuSign and Dotloop, you're going to love this video. Let me know in the comments below. After this tutorial, did you decide on DocuSign or did you decide on Dotloop? Are you using both? Let me know. I'd love to hear what you think.